Has America lost its mind? What is happening to people right now, you guys? People don't want to wear masks. The president says to drink disinfectants. Nearly hundreds of thousands of people are dying because of COVID-19. Gun-toting protesters, demonizing media. What do we do with all this? I'm in the 23-minute rectangle with Waylan, Cooley, Phillips, Theodore The Thinker, and Michael Thomas. Let's start with Cooley. Cooley, what's your position, man, on reopening America?
Well, I'm gonna just say it like this. I'm totally against reopening right now. I mean, I know there's financial situations. Everybody's financial situation is different. But hey, we said it before. I'd rather live than stick myself out there. So I'm against it. I wait another month. Let's see what happens. Don't hold off.
And Cooley, you're an entrepreneur, man. I mean, and so that sounds a little strange coming from someone, who makes their living as an entrepreneur. I mean, why do you think that way? And so many others are saying reopen.
I think, like you said, it's a choice, because being an entrepreneur throughout the years, you budget different. You look at life a lot differently because you take chances. So this is not a chance that I want to take. I'm a risk taker by heart, but this is not the chance that I want to take this risk. So knowing the facts, people are dying, knowing that's one. Knowing two is that this hurts me the most. We all gonna die, but your family cannot even visit you when you're dying. No one can come see you. There's no one with you. I mean, because that's an emotional thing, that you're going through. And sometimes that strength of your family being there can actually bring back the energy to fight. You know what I mean? Sometimes that helps you fight whatever it is. But yeah. So it's a lot of situations, but we got other people on the panel, but those are two of my reasons. I can go on, but I'll come back.
Yeah, greenpreneur, Mike Thomas, man. What's your position, man, on reopening America? Getting back out there, not wearing a mask, doing whatever. Well, what's your position?
Well, great question, Gerard. I appreciate you having me on the McClendon Report. But, I would say, I'm 50-50, right? The reality is that we have to open up eventually. I mean, this is a reality that we've got to be faced with. And so what the disappointment for me is that, we was not prepared. Even Obama mentioned this years ago about, biological threat, different things of that nature. And so unfortunately, we could have been a little bit more prepared. Nobody could really justify or actually know when, but we knew something, right? And so what do I mean by that? At the end of the day, we have to open up eventually. So we need to still be realistic about that. But to the brother's point prior to, is that people are still, we're not even at the peak, or we're just getting to the peak. And so the reality boils down to most of these medical officials, unfortunately, it seems, don't even really know what this is or how it's, now I'm hearing reports about it's mutating, right? Yeah. So, what are we really doing in 30 days?
Yeah.
The reality is, we're in a different, I started to write a book last year called Uncharted Territory. And that's pretty much what we are. We're just in uncharted territory. I think many people of color will do like they've always done, which is adapt.
Wow, I'm loving that, man. Adaptation. We got the greenpreneur, we got the photographer, videographer, filmmaker, Theo the Thinker. Your position, man, reopening.
Right on. Adaptation is key. I agree with that. And we have had to adapt. That's why we weren't jumping out of windows when the Great Depression hit, because we adapt. It already was rough, right?
Yeah.
But to the point of this opening up the country, I am against it. It's not the intelligent thing to do. It's not the safe thing to do. It's not, here's what it points up, okay? Everybody talks about you should have 2 or 6 months of money saved as an individual citizen, right?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, most people don't, right? Well, how come the country doesn't? How come United Airlines doesn't? How come these companies don't have 6 months of savings?
Oh, can of worms right there.
Come on. This is what I'm talking about. Now, here is the insidious part of this reopening. You listen to your president, he talks about the numbers all the time, right?
Yeah.
Talks about the numbers. He, even though he's not that intelligent, he did deduce that, the greatest percentage of deaths are blacks.
Oh, Theo.
Cannon fodder. Okay?
So they're expendable.
Very
Oh
much so.
my, they're, oh man, see you.
Come on. Come on.
Well, Gerard, at first it was a hoax. At first I've seen social media, black folks wasn't getting it. I'm confused. Like, what happened? What transpired? I was hearing black folks wasn't getting it. Not true, obviously.
You know what? I gotta break my screen because you guys hold tight. You gotta see this, man. This is good TV right here. You guys have blown this wide open. I'm gonna run into my notes. There's this amazing article. Let me find it right quick. My man Elie Mystal, he's on AM Joy Reid show on Saturdays. Elie Mystal with the Fro. He wrote an article in The Nation. The article is called let me find it here. COVID is about to become the newest excuse for police brutality.
Wow.
That's by Elie Mystal, and then Darius Walker wrote an article called "The Pandemic is Disproportionately Impacting Black Communities."
Yes.
So is it going to be a free-for-all on Black people that are unemployed, that may have lower education, that may have diabetes? We just gonna die, fellas?
Well, there'll be a percentage, and those numbers are acceptable to the power structure. It's like, okay, we're gonna drop 150, 200,000. It's 300 million people in the country. These are expendable infantrymen, okay? They are the expendable soldiers that we gotta drop. There's going to be an attrition rate.
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage is that's the term I'm looking for.
Wow.
That's how we're deemed as collateral damage. So to brother Waylan's point, even though he's an entrepreneur and he knows he needs to get back out there and work, he also is a thinking man, and he's abiding by self-preservation.
Yeah.
And I mean, he can speak for himself, but I heard exactly what he was saying. He says, I'm going to wait a while for this thing because it hasn't really peaked. It peaked in New York. Mm-hmm. It hasn't peaked anywhere else.
And to jump in on that, I'm in a different position too. Whereas that being an entrepreneur, like I was saying earlier, I didn't want to I know how to budget my money. See what I'm saying? So when as an entrepreneur, business is not the same every day. So, if you get, say, $5,000 or $10,000, you hold on to that. You don't spend it all. Whereas a person that get a regular check, hey, they so used to getting a check every week, every other week, a certain amount of money a month, they're on a salary, they just blow it. But as an entrepreneur, you think differently. So being put in a situation, like you said, is being able to be set for 6 or 7 months out. We're good. That's not boasting. That's just life. And that's just the difference. If I don't work for a month or two, we're good. You see what I'm saying? But that's, like I said, that's my way of thinking. But I value my life over the dollar, though. Yeah. I can't speak for everybody else. I can't run out there.
I see you, Mike. I want to make this comment. I'm gonna let you in, Mike. My speech trainer, man, the well-known Les Brown, back in the 90s, he told me this, man, at Christ Universal Temple. He said, Brother McClendon, he said, people who work jobs, they work hard enough to not get fired, and the business pays them enough not to quit. And so now we're in a situation where a pandemic is hit, and it just shocks everyone. Mike Thomas, talk to me, man.
Well, what's interesting. I just listening to the gentleman speak, but we still. I think it's a huge opportunity because African Americans and people of color are number one consumers in the economy. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to go the other way. And so nobody's telling you got to leave home. Right. And so is this an opportunity for people of color to protest by staying in, not consuming? I don't know. Talk to me.
That's interesting. And you know what? That's interesting, especially coming from the greenpreneur, because you're all about preservation and about recycling. What's the 3 R's of greenpreneur?
Reduce, reuse, and recycle. But I can tell you, listen, I can see the sky. I couldn't see the sky All the cars, pollution. I can see the heavens now.
That's real.
Hey, can I chime in right quick? You touched on something very heavy. The recycle. See, this is what the government wants you to do. They gave out those stimulus checks. I haven't received one. They want to recycle that dollar right back to them.
Right.
See, if they don't hurry up and do, who's going to get that dollar? Amazon and online services. So that's why they're trying to open up and get things going back so they can get that dollar back that they gave us, because we're going to run out there and just throw it away.
Yeah, you know what, Cooley? That stimulus check, man, was just a teaser, man. It should have been, and Theo, elaborate on something you talked about earlier, because giving people $1,200, man, is saying, okay, you're fine now. That's nonsense. What's your solution as a UBI proponent?
Well, first of all, there's going to be a new plan that's coming through, and it's going to sort of be a precursor to UBI, and that is if they actually approve this $2,000 a month for 4 months. That's a precursor to a universal basic income. Something that Germany is already doing during this pandemic. They're paying their people 90% of their old salary right now, and so is it France? Canada. Canada is paying $2,000 a month as we speak. Plus, they already had a UBI in the form of the oil allotment. Okay. Ultimately, there's going to have to be a universal basic income because the virus is the threat today, but automation, AI, and robotics is the threat tomorrow, and it won't be gone in a few months. It'll never be gone. Millions and hundreds of millions and billions of workers will be misplaced. Some will be able to retrain, most will not. And if they retrain, what are they retraining into? When AI kicks in, the robots will be repairing the robots. They won't need you.
Yeah, that's straight up, that's matrix action there. And you know, it's funny that you mentioned that, especially with the greenpreneur Mike Thomas on board. This is a time when they have been doing massive testing on semi trucks going from New York to Michigan to California to Arizona, and they're totally unmanned. They can drop this stuff off long distance without using a human being. If that's not recycle, reduce, and what's the other one again, Mike?
Reuse.
Reuse. I mean, my God, man, what's gonna happen? And like Andrew Yang says, he says that most of those truck drivers are at or are nearing or at middle age. They make lots of money, and once they're displaced, oh man, it's a new day, man. It's a new day.
So this could be used. It could, if had they listened to Yang, he gets a little more traction now. But had they listened to him, they'd have been fully prepared for something like this. If they bought into the idea that there's going to have to be some kind of a supplement. See, UBI, unlike welfare, it's not welfare, because UBI, you can still make money over that. Okay, UBI is just to stave off starvation, riots, maybe even cannibalism. That's the UBI.
Yeah.
It will create an income floor, okay, a floor, a homeostasis. But over that, you can do other things. Like there can still be room for people like Waylan in his creative arts, using the cameras and things like that. Brother Mike here, he'll still be able to do some of his business. But just having that floor will make it so that you're not in a situation of desperation at all times. Because the science is there. You can lose as many as 20 IQ points by being in desperation. You lose your mental faculties and you revert back to the limbic brain.
Wow.
I'm just reporting. I'm just being a messenger. I'm not the expert, but I've been reading for 2 or 3 years on this.
That explains test anxiety too. I mean, you could be the most brilliant person in the world, and the minute you have a time limit to complete a test, you freak out, you freeze up.
But we can return back to the subject of the virus, but again, this is really just dress rehearsal for AI.
You know, the pandemic has exposed everyone. It's funny, Theo, what you mentioned about these large businesses not saving enough, or the people at the top selling their stock so they're fine. And then they get the bailout, while small businesses and greenpreneurs and filmmakers and videographers, they're the last ones at the end to get their check, their stimulus. You know, they're for
if anything. If anything.
Yes. Yeah. You know, Mike, what does this mean, man? What does a pandemic mean for the greenpreneur? What does this mean for recycling and wind and the environment and being a green person? What does that mean right now in the age of a pandemic?
Well, you know, I mean, I feel that most people that are pretty much in the green space or the environmental space have pretty much prepared for a scenario like this. What do I mean by that? Most people that are sitting home, idle, don't know what to do, different things like that. Majority of people that are in the green space are meditators. They meditate. And so they know how to reduce their thoughts, reduce their anxiety, go out for walks, deep breaths. And so technically they're prepared for things of this nature. And when you think about it, if you looked at everything that's happened to COVID-19, and all you hear is, okay, we don't know if it's this, we don't know if it's that, we know it's mucus, we know that you got to reduce this or reduce that. Majority of people that are living a green lifestyle mostly are boosting their immune systems at all times. And so you don't really hear in this economy or this scenario about really boosting your immune system.
Yeah.
But they're saying it's affecting your immune system, but they're not telling you to boost your immune system. And so majority of people that are in the green space that I've noticed have always been talking about non-GMOs. Now, you know, we've done several shows about meat, right? And the meat industry and the poultry industry fighting to control the ownership of the word meat.
Yes.
Because of the companies like Beyond Meat and plant-based meat. But, you know, also you got to watch the trickery that goes on with that, because there's another group of individuals who want to do lab-grown meat. That's not the same thing as plant-based meat. And so we got to be mindful and careful of, you know, the foolishness that happens. But the reality, if you look at the dairy industry, if you look at the meat industry, all of them were already tanking. They were already getting ready to file bankruptcy. They wasn't having enough volume anyway. And so the reality is this is a transformation. This is a transition to even more consciousness. So more people are waking up. And I always tell people when I started off the show, Gerard, everybody don't wake up at the same time.
Yep. People got different alarm clocks, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, this is deep. We're going to be closing here soon, gentlemen. I'm going to ask Waylan this question first, but this is to all of you. Yeah. We all have families, right? We all have friends, families, co-workers, loved ones. And something tragic happened back in February. And it's coming back out now because it's exposed. Ahmaud Arbery, 25-year-old unarmed Black man, was jogging in his neighborhood, right? Because he wanted to stay in shape. He was cornered, shot, and killed by Travis McMichael and his son, two white men in Brunswick, Georgia. No arrest or charges. Now, here's the crazy part. They haven't been arrested or charged. They have the videotape. The guy's jogging, gentlemen. They have the videotape. They basically, you know, corner him, and he gets in a scuffle with them and they shoot him. Here's the thing. This thing might end up being a Trayvon Martin, because if someone, this is what's messed up with the stand your ground laws, because if someone engages you and then you engage them and they shoot you, they can say they were standing their ground. And in the age of a pandemic, it might get worse. Gentlemen, do you worry about your families at this time with people, you know, people slapping people in stores, man, for wearing masks? Talk to me. Waylan,
all the time.
I mean, I'm sorry, that haven't even crossed my mind for it to happen to me, to be honest with you. I never even thought about it. Just seeing the story and reading about it recently, yeah, it definitely hits home being a Black man, and you have a family. But the key of it is right now, like I said again, I hadn't thought about wearing a mask and being affected or being challenged or something like that. I think more so, I'm thinking about is protecting myself. So I got a whole different mindset. And then too, where I live is, of course, I probably say I should be, but majority of the people are wearing masks. And I'm not trying to be out. So I think, just from my personal thoughts of this right now, it's a tragic, but now if I want to start thinking about the Black community as a whole, that's a whole nother story. But also too, we got brothers and people everywhere taking advantage of the situation, robbing people with masks, stuff like that. But due to this brother situation, it's a modern day lynching, bottom line, in broad daylight. Somebody was filming it, and for them not to be arrested, that's a problem.
Yeah.
They have it on tape.
Truly. Theo, what you think, man?
You can have a whole show on that, man.
Yeah.
That's an absolute tragedy.
Yeah.
But it's not surprising, man. I mean, this is where we are. There's a lady, her name is, she's a prominent attorney. She has the Law and Justice Center out in New York, Laree Daniel Favors. And she says, the peculiar thing about being an African-American is that unlike many other civilizations, including Germany, we live with our Hitler.
Oh.
That's her quote. We live with our Hitler. Mm-hmm. In Germany, you can't have a Hitler or Goebbels or Himmler high school, but you can have a Robert E. Lee high school, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah. And you can still fly that flag and they hide behind the First Amendment.
Put it on your F-150 or your Ram Charger truck.
Yeah, it's really, really bad, man. And which goes back to square one with this whole Stockholm syndrome thing that I was talking about earlier. Have we gotten comfortable with our oppressor? As bad as things are around us, we can talk all day on this show, but what are we gonna do about our oppressor?
Well, let me say this, and then let Mike go ahead and take over. But I want to his credit, he said where I really am. I'm in that space of meditation, of deep contemplation, of thinking, of creating music, listening to music, working on my little video system. I'm in that space because I see this. To me, it's a break from racism. Meaning the micro insults, when you go to a store or something, it's a break. I love it. It matches my personality. I'd rather be in solitude and then emerge when it's necessary, So I look at it as, there is a silver lining, and that is self-examination, perhaps ultimately self-realization, actualization. But I'm sorry, I don't want to just rob the time here, but Brother Mike, I caught what you were saying about, there's a silver lining.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so for me, in this particular space, I'm always looking for the silver lining. I mean, I've been looking for the silver lining so much that I didn't even know this brother got shot. Like I'm so, I remember there's a wise teacher that said, be in the world, but not of it. Mm-hmm. And so I've been in it, but I've not been of it because, again, working on myself, being a little bit more optimistic, looking for that silver lining. But it's funny, going into, and I'll give you guys this. When I walk into the public, I'm going to the grocery store and I'm walking somewhere and somebody walks across from me. Remember, before COVID, I was like, oh, what do you think, I'm going to take your purse? Now, in this scenario, I'm like, I don't want to be next to you either.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So
I've noticed that too.
So when I look at that's erased. But going back to this young brother that was slaughtered, I would say executed. It said Mr. McMichael later told police he thought Mr. Arbery looked like a suspect in a string of break-ins. And so, look like you got in your vehicle, you pursued somebody. Was he breaking in? No, he wasn't breaking in.
No.
He looked like somebody that broke in.
Yeah.
And so in that instance alone, there should be arrest.
Yeah.
Because you took the law into your own hands because you didn't say he was breaking in something. You say he looked like somebody that was breaking in things or string of robberies.
And Michael Thomas, here's the deal. Ahmaud Arbery was killed less than 2 blocks away from his home. They had seen this young man jog that block probably all the time. They're predators, and they hunted him because he's got this skin. It's trifling, man. This is the world we live in right now. I need some closing words, gentlemen. What should we do during and after the pandemic? Give me one thing we should be doing during and after this pandemic. Cooley.
One thing that we probably should be doing during this pandemic is definitely praying, revisiting who you are as a person. For those that are entrepreneurs, take advantage of this space because there's opportunities. This is the time to really think and, consciously think budget. Start thinking about those, the situation if you don't have any money right now, when you get back into the workforce. Start putting some money away, preparing for the rainy day. If you can't do 6 months, put 3 months, 2 months out. Things of that nature, I think, that's where it's time to rebuild, restructure, refocus. This is the time. And if you haven't done it, it's not too late. Start now.
Yeah. Thank you, Cooley. During and after the pandemic, Theo, what should we value?
Mute.
You're muted.
Self-examination, self-focus, self-improvement. That's where I'm at in this. And I see this as a respite period to get deeper into that. So that's where I'm looking at it going forward. Being a cocoon now, and then we come out to become a butterfly and start soaring when this is over.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Mike Thomas, Greenpreneur.
Well, what I say, once again, Mother Nature reminds us who's the boss, okay? Because a virus is real time. And so get yourself together. Either, we as humans are going to hang together or we're going to hang alone.
Yeah.
And so the reality, I say, during this pandemic and after, boost your immune system. Meditation, prayer works the same way. No drinking alcohol. It is not essential. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. It's not essential. I don't care what they say. It's not essential. No meat. Try to cut down on your meat. If you've been eating meat, cut down once a week. Still can eat it. And think about in this time, when we come out of this pandemic, to the young man's thing, how are you using your money? How are you leveraging your money? And the real thing is, are you essential? Because if you're not essential, that UBI, you're going to be at home, not working, not doing nothing. And so what is your real value?
Yeah.
And so in times like this, in times of crisis, are you essential?
Man, you just said it all. And I was looking at one of LeVar Burton's tweets this week. And Michael Thomas, thanks for being on the show. Waylan, Cooley, Phillips, Theodore McClendon, thanks for being on the show. And he said this: know who you are and why you're here. Stay strong, gentlemen. Keep your head up and always be encouraged. Thank you, fellas. McClendon Report out.